From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day, this is Dateline Malacañang. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. called on governors nationwide to help curb irregularities and ensure the proper implementation of government projects. President Marcos made the call as he led the oath-taking of a new set of officers of the League of Provinces of the Philippines, or LPP, led by re-elected National President South Cotabato, Governor Reynaldo Tamayo Jr. in a ceremony at the Malacañang Palace. In a keynote speech, President Marcos is optimistic the LPP will work with his administration in eradicating corruption in government, urging them to serve with integrity and expose any irregularities. President Marcos made the call amid thorough investigation into the flood control projects that led to the discovery of anomalous and ghost projects. He asked the LPP to serve as a guide, voice, and conscience in addressing pressing issues as part of efforts to build a bagong Pilipinas, or new Philippines. President Marcos emphasized the importance of faster and improved government frontline services by harnessing new technologies such as artificial intelligence, or AI, data analytics, and other innovations. He also hoped for the wider implementation of the Zero Balance Billing Program following its successful rollout in 78 Department of Health-run hospitals.
Ngayon, higit kailanman, kailangan ng bansang Pilipinas ang inyong pamumuno upang wakasan ang mga maling nakagisnan. Nagsimula pa lang ang laban at mahaba pa ang ating tatahakin. Umaasa ako na kasama namin kayo sa bawat hakbang, sa pagsusuri sa mga proyekto, sa pagsasaliwanag sa mga nakakukubli na kadliliman. Kaya't hinihikayat ko kayo, paglingkuran natin ng buong katapatan ng sambayanan. Tiyakin natin nasa wasto ang mga proyekto na ipinapatupad ng pambansang pamahalaan at ng lalawigan, at isiwalat natin kung may makikitang taliwas. Kaya dahil ang pera ng sambayanan ay pera ng bayan, hindi sa pansariling interes. Nais ko rin banggitin na ipinapatupad na po natin ang ating Zero Balance Billing. 78 DOH hospital na ang kasama. Sa ilalim ng programang ito, walang babayaran ng mga kababayan natin na nakakonfine sa basic o ward accommodation. Ang aking samo ay maging laganap din ito sa mga ospital sa ilalim ng lokal na pamahalaan, kung saan hindi kailangan maglabas ng pera ang mga naghihirap nating may sakit. Sa paraang ito, maitatag natin ang bagong Pilipinas kung saan ang bawat Pilipino ay may pagkakataong umunlad, may seguridad sa kinabukasan at may tiwala sa pamahalaan.
The LPP is a non-stock corporation that seeks to articulate and address issues affecting provincial and metropolitan administrations while pursuing lawful and practical solutions to challenges faced by localities. Over the next 3 years, the LPP aims to support the President's agenda by advocating for prior consultation with local government units in the implementation of national infrastructure projects to ensure accountability, transparency, and fairness. The LPP will also focus on solutions to the worsening solid waste management, frequent flooding caused by climate change, and funding for disaster preparedness. A primary goal of the LPP is to lobby the 20th Congress to amend the 1991 Local Government Code to update outdated provisions and enhance LGU fiscal autonomy. Other priorities include the full implementation of provincial functions under the Universal Healthcare Act and improving the delivery of quality social services to communities.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang on Wednesday said Department of Public Works and Highways or DPWH officials involved in gambling activities may face administrative or even criminal charges. This after former Bulacan DPWH District Engineer Henry Alcantara at the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearing on anomalous flood control project on Monday admitted to playing in casinos along with his former Assistant District Engineer Bryce Hernandez. RA 6713, also known as the Code of Conduct and Ethical Standards for Public Officials and Employees, explicitly prohibits government workers from engaging in behavior that undermines public trust, including gambling. Communications Undersecretary and Palace Press Officer Claire Castro told reporters when asked about the possible sanctions that the DPWH officials may face said the palace will let Public Works Secretary Vince Dizon act on the matter and determine the appropriate course of action. She nevertheless said government workers need to be reminded of their responsibilities, stressing that they already know that they should not be involved in gambling activities. Alcantara's admission followed Senator Panfilo Lacson's revelation that at least 2 DPWH officials from Bulacan squandered over 300 million pesos each in casino gambling. Lacson said the 2 officials used fictitious names to hide their true identities.
Unang-una po, kung inamin po niya to, syempre po, ito naman ay under na po kay Secretary Vince Dizon. Maaari po ito makasuhan under RA 6713, depende pa po kung ano po yung maaari pa niya nagawa. Can be administrative case, can be criminal case, depende po sa kanya mga nagawa. Pero hindi po natin pangungunahan kung ano magiging desisyon dito ni Secretary Vince Dizon. Alam po nila yan, hindi na po sila dapat pagsabihan. Kahit po yung online gambling, hindi po pwede. Bawal po yun. So, malalaki na po sila. Responsibilidad nila yan na dapat maging matino silang public official.
Communications Undersecretary, Palace Press Officer Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacañang.
Budget Secretary Amena Pangandaman and newly appointed Public Works Secretary Vince Dizon agreed Wednesday to complete the review of the Department of Public Works and Highways DPWH proposed 2026 budget within 2 weeks. Pangandaman and Dizon met following President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s unprecedented directive to revisit the DPWH budget in the 2026 National Expenditure Program amid concerns over alleged inconsistencies and double entry of projects. In a press conference of the meeting of the DBM Central Office in San Miguel, Manila, Dizon welcomed President Marcos' latest order since he is unfamiliar with the processing of budget allocation for thousands of projects under the DPWH. Dizon said the DPWH's spending plan for 2026 consists of 700 pages.
Tingin ko lang kailangan meron itong deadline. No? Kasi ano tayo limitado ang ating oras, no? Kailangan importanteng mapasa natin itong budget na to dahil hindi lang to budget ng DPWH kundi budget ng buong gobyerno. So, tingin ko, nag-usap kami ni Sec Mina, we both agreed on a 2-week timeline. 2 linggo. Maximum. Pwedeng mas maigsi. No, pwedeng mas maigsi. So, kailangan lang syempre pagtrabahuan namin to ng maigi, no? Pupukpukin natin ang DPWH, ang ating mga kasamahan doon para magkaroon tayo ng honest to goodness review.
Dizon said the DBM and the DPWH will start reviewing the projects that were flagged by Congress. Leaders of the House of Representatives Wednesday recommended the return of the 2026 NEP to the DBM and temporarily halt the budget deliberations until the reported erroneous entries are fixed. Pangandaman expressed confidence that the review of the DPWH proposed budget for 2026 will be done before the 2-week deadline, adding that possible changes will be submitted to Congress. Pangandaman said the proposed budget of the DPWH may go down depending on the results of the review. While the DBM is ready for a reenacted budget, the agency and the entire executive branch are very much willing to work with Congress to address the issues concerning the DPWH spending plan for 2026, according to Pangandaman.
Ipapadala natin sa kanila yung bagong listahan, yung mga changes na mangyayari doon. Sa tingin po namin, mas madali yon na proseso at procedure kesa magbalikan tayong ganyan. Kasi never pa po siya nangyari. Diba? Pag never pa nangyari, baka umakit pa kung saan-saan yan. Diba? Dito naman sa DBM, ready, ginagawa na nila yung guidelines, assuming magkaroon tayo ng reenacted budget. Pero syempre, di ba nga, sinabi natin na yung reenacted budget magkukos ng downturn ng ating ekonomiya. Especially now na nakikita natin yung malaking kontribusyon ng ating budget sa ating ekonomiya. Ayaw naman natin mawala yun, di ba? With what's happening around the world, di ba? Ayaw naman natin masira yung trajectory natin. Mabilis ang andar na ekonomiya natin. Gusto pa natin bumilis, lalo na itong last 3 years ng ating administrasyon at ng ating Pangulong Bongbong Marcos.
Philippine Budget Secretary Amena Pangandaman.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Department of Public Works and Highways, DPWH, has requested the Department of Justice, or DOJ, to issue an Immigration Lookout Bulletin Order, or ILBO, against 25 contractors and government officials who are allegedly connected to questionable flood control projects. In a letter addressed to Justice Secretary Crispin Rebulla, DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon asked the DOJ to monitor these individuals, including contractor Cesara and Pacifico Discaya, President and authorized managing officer respectively of the Alpha and Omega General Contractor and Development Corporation, and Lawrence Lubiano, President, Centerways Construction and Development Incorporated. An ILBO is for monitoring purposes only and is not sufficient to prohibit the subject's departure from the Philippines. If encountered, immigration officers are instructed to promptly relay to the DOJ and the House of Representatives any pertinent information regarding the travel and to check if there are freshly issued orders against the subjects. The other names included in the requested ILBO are OIC Assistant Regional Director Henry Alcantara, DPWH, OIC District Engineer Bryce Erickson Hernandez, DPWH, OIC Assistant District Engineer JP Mendoza, DPWH, Engineer Ernesto Galang, Planning and Design Section of the DPWH, Engineer John Michael Ramos, Construction Section, DPWH, Engineer Norberto Santos, Quality Assurance and Hydrology Section, DPWH, Engineer Jaime Hernandez, Maintenance Section, or rather Maintenance Section of the DPWH, Floreline Simbulan, Administrative Section of the DPWH, Juanito Mendoza, Finance Section, DPWH, Engineer Benedict Matawaran, Procurement Unit, DPWH, Alex Abelido, President, Legacy Construction Corporation, Maria Roma Angelina Rimando, Owner and Manager of St. Timothy Construction Corporation, Alan Kirante, Owner, Proprietor of QM Builders, Ernie Bagao, Owner, Proprietor of EJB Construction Corporation, Mr. Yumir Villanueva, President, Top Notch Catalyst Builders Incorporated, Ms. Aderma Angeli Alcazar, President, CEO, SunWest Incorporated, Edgar Acosta, President, Hightone Construction and Development Corporation, Wilfredo Natividad, Owner, General Manager, 888 Construction and Supply Incorporated, Romeo Miranda, President, AMO, Royal Crown, Monarch Construction and Supplies Corporation, Mark Alan Arevalo, General Manager, Wawaw Builders, Marjorie Samidan, Authorized Managing Officer, MG Samidan Construction, Luisito Tiki, President, LR Tiki Builders Incorporated, and Ryan Willie Uy, Proprietor, Road Edge Trading Development Services. Likewise, the DPWH Chief asked the Bureau of Immigration, or BI, to inform the department of the travel plans of these individuals.
Dateline Malacañang.
We are temporarily interrupting our news broadcast for Dateline Malacañang to give way to a presidential coverage. Let us listen to the message of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. as he leads the ceremonial signing of the Enhanced Fiscal Regime for a Large-Scale Metallic Mining Act in Malacañang.
Mula sa Presidential Communications Office at Radyo Pilipinas, ito ang Presidential Live Event. Presidential Live Event.
Thank you, Executive Secretary, Secretary Luc Bersumin. Please take your seats. Senate President Chis Escudero and the honorable members of the Senate here present. House Speaker Martin Romualdez, and the members of the House of Representatives also here, the honorable members of the Cabinet, our partners from the private sector, and stakeholders, my fellow workers in government, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a good day to you all. Good morning. Around the world, the demand for minerals is surging. These minerals are needed to service the new technologies for batteries, solar panels, other vital components of clean energy. Some even call these resources as the building blocks of a green and digital economy. We are blessed because the Philippines is rich in such resources. If the world needs these minerals, then we must make sure that our mining infrastructure is robust and that Filipinos, above all, benefit from it. With the signing of the Enhanced Fiscal Regime for Large-Scale Metallic Mining Act, we are putting into place a system that is fairer, that is clearer, and more responsive to the needs of both our people and the environment. Sa ilalim ng batas nito, mas magiging simple at ang pamamalakad at paggamit sa pondo na mula sa pagmimina. Matitiyak na may bahagi ang pamahalaan sa kita, may tataguyod ang malinaw at tapat na sistema at may ibibigay ang seguridad sa mga mamumuhunan. Higit sa lahat, layo natin na palakasin ang proteksyon ng kalikasan at mas makinabang ang mga komunidad na naapektuhan ng pagmimina. This reform mandates mining companies that operate within the government's designated mining sites to pay a royalty of 5% of their gross output. Those operating outside mineral reservations, on the other hand, will be subject to a margin-based royalty on income from metallic mining operations. It also imposes additional taxes when a company's profit margin exceeds 30%. Ensuring that the government receives its fair share from the extra profit and that the benefits will ripple into the lives of ordinary Filipinos. When collecting taxes, each mining contractor is recognized as a separate taxable entity. This prevents the consolidation of income and expenses of all mining projects by the same taxpayer. Gone are the days when a mining contractor can bury its profits beneath the weight of losses. No longer can we use the one project's failure to conceal another project's success. Transparency is now the rule, accountability our standard, and fairness the measure by which we move forward. In light of this, the Bureau of Internal Revenue and the Bureau of Customs will examine and audit all sales and exports of minerals and inspect mining company records in coordination with the Mines and Geosciences Bureau. In addition to the allotted national revenue collections, local government units will now receive 40% of the gross collections from excise taxes on mineral products, royalties, and other taxes or fees. This ensures that the communities who bear the brunt of mines will also experience their benefits. Meanwhile, 10% of royalties from government-designated mining sites will go to the Mines and Geosciences Bureau and the Metals Industry Research and Development Center. This is done to guarantee that part of the revenues is reinvested in exploration, in research, above all, environmental protection and sustainable practices. So, ladies and gentlemen, with this law, we send a very clear and powerful message. Progress shall never come at the cost of our people, nor our planet. Minerals are finite. Once extracted, they're gone forever. But if we use them wisely, tax them fairly, protect our environment as we mine, and ensure that revenues return to the people, then their value will outlive all of us. To our legislators and stakeholders who collaborated to pass this measure, thank you. Through this law, you are bringing us a step closer to the development of downstream industries and manufacturing of essential products, which brings us greater value. So together, let's build the mining industry that is a transparent and accountable and sustainable industry, one where our communities are empowered, our environment preserved, and our people are the ultimate beneficiaries of this progress. Maraming salamat. Mabuhay ang sambayan ng Pilipino. Magandang umaga po sa inyo.
Thank you, Mr. President. You just listened to Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s speech during the ceremonial signing of the enhanced fiscal regime for large-scale metallic mining in the Malacañang Palace.
Mula sa Presidential Communications Office at Radyo Pilipinas, ito ang Presidential Live Event. Presidential Live Event.
Dateline Malacañang.
Back at the Malacañang newscast, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has ordered a sweeping review of the proposed budget of the Department of Public Works and Highways, or DPWH, and the 2026 National Expenditure Program, or NEP, in Malacañang said Wednesday. Communications Undersecretary Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said President Marcos has directed Department of Budget and Management, or DBM, Secretary Amena Pangandaman and Public Works Secretary Vince Dizon to lead and expedite the review to avoid delays in budget deliberations.
The President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., has directed the Department of Budget and Management and the newly appointed Secretary of the Department of Public Works and Highway to conduct a sweeping review of the DPWH budget under the proposed 2026 National Expenditure Program. The President emphasized that the review must lead to the necessary changes to guarantee transparency, accountability, and the proper use of the people's money, ensuring that resources are directed toward infrastructure projects that genuinely serve and benefit the Filipino people.
Castro said the directive was issued following the possible duplication and insertion of projects included in the DPWH spending plan for 2026. She said corrections will be made through errata in case there is a duplication and insertion of projects.
Ang sabi po kasi ng DBM, hindi na po maibabalik yung NEP sa kanila. Magkakaroon lang po siguro ng mga erratum. Iko-correct, i-amend, tatanggalin, para po mabigyan sila ang Senado, ang Kongreso ng listahan kung ano yung dapat na hindi na ilagay.
Castro also responded to Vice President Sara Duterte's claim that the issues concerning the flood and mitigation projects could be addressed within the day. She said it is absolutely preposterous to claim that the problem could be fixed overnight. Castro added that the Vice President should have given that advice to her father, former President Rodrigo Duterte, since some of the ghost projects uncovered in the investigation were implemented during the previous administration.
Isang araw lang matatapos ng investigasyon? That is absolutely preposterous. Ang Pangulong Marcos Jr., hindi po siya nagsasagawa ng investigasyon alatokhang way. Nirerespeto ng Pangulo ang due process, nirerespeto ng Pangulo ang human rights. So kaya po dumadaan ang lahat sa proseso. Kung isang araw lang po dapat ito na imbestigahan, sana po ay ito ay kanyang nasuggest noon sa kanyang ama dahil mismo ang dating Pangulong Duterte ay umamin na maraming ghost projects rampant noon. This is November 2020 nilabas. Pero may nasibakbang secretary ng DPWH sa panahon niya. So, muli, ang pag-iimbestigang ito para sa taong bayan, hindi para sa pamumulitika. Ginagawa ito ng Pangulo kahit tatamaan ang kanyang administrasyon.
Communications Undersecretary and Palace Press Officer Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. wants the next ombudsman to be impartial, Malacañang said Wednesday, following claims that there is a plot to appoint an ally to put Vice President Sara Duterte and her allies in jail by 2028. Communications Undersecretary, Palace Press Officer Claire Castro maintained that the next ombudsman must have integrity and is nonpartisan based on the qualities President Marcos is looking for. This comes after Marcos' sister, Senator Amy Marcos, claimed that there is an an effort to get rid of Duterte ahead of the 2028 presidential race by appointing a new ombudsman who is an administration ally. The senator accused the administration of hatching Plan C through Justice Secretary Jesus Crespin Remulla's application for the ombudsman post following failed attempts to oust Duterte through a People's Initiative and impeachment. Castro said the Dutertes and their allies should not be afraid in case the ombudsman finds it necessary to file a case against them. Castro said despite Imy's accusations, President Marcos will not say anything negative against her.
Ang Pangulo naman po ay mabilis kumilos eh. So abangan na lang po natin muna kung ano ang kanyang magiging decision pagka nandiyan na po yung shortlist. Ang gusto po ng Pangulo, of course, dapat ay may integridad. Hindi nadidiktahan at walang kinakampihan. Sa statement po ni Senator Amy, mas marami po sigurong katanungan na maibibigay dito. Unang-una, ano po ba yung nais niya ipahiwatig? Pagbibigay ng hustisya sa bayan o pagpoprotekta sa kaibigan? Ang nais niya po bang maging ombudsman ay hindi man lang kakantiin o sasampahan ng kaso kung mayroong dapat na sampahan? Ang mga Duterte, ang mga kaibigan ng mga Duterte, allies ng mga Duterte. Hindi pa po ba na mas nararapat po na maging independent ang magiging ombudsman dahil independent constitutional body naman ito at kinakailangan na magsampa ng kaso kung nararapat. At hindi po dapat katakutan kung wala naman magiging talagang kasalanan ng mga Duterte na siyang kinatatakutan niya. Eh hindi naman po ibig sabihin nito ay hindi dapat sila sampahan ng kaso dahil kaya naman nila ipagtanggol ang kanilang mga sarili. So ano po ba ang hinaharang dito ni Senator Amy? Ang maitatalagang ombudsman na dapat ay hindi kantiin ang mga kaibigan? At isa pa pong tanong, saan po kaya nabili o ano kaya manufacturer yung parang bolang kristal ni Senator Amy? Dahil siguro mas magandang ma-recalibrate ito para hindi lang bali-balita ang nasasagap ni Senator Amy, kundi mga kwento na mayroong ebidensya.
I'm sure the President heard about this, ma'am. Ano po yung reaction niya na galing po sa kapatid niya yung pahayag na yun?
Alam naman natin ng Pangulo pagdating kay Senator Amy, kapatid niya naman po yan, ay hindi siya nagsasabi po ng negatibo.
Communications Undersecretary and Palace Press Officer Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacañang.
And that is all for Dateline Malacañang for Radyo Pilipinas World Service. This has been Bea Gaza-de Guzman.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.